Hi, David Kirsten here with Public Sector Budgeting for the fall 2019. It's PA 633. I'm your adjunct professor and I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to have everyone in the course. Um, Looks like we have a pretty big section, what's normally two courses, but it's actually better to have everybody together if we have one teacher. So I just wanted to introduce you also to this first screencast on a weekly basis. I do screencasts as part of my office hours, and you are welcome to join me live. It's normally going to be at noon on Tuesdays, which is the start of the other section. I had to start an hour early today because I had a meeting that came up. Um, I try to keep them about 15, 20 minutes recorded version, but I do some kind of longer tutorials that sometimes I'll send out as a separate link. Other times I'll do them offline. So, um, I wanted to try to keep this one short, just do a brief intro to the course, a look at the syllabus. Wanted to encourage folks to introduce themselves to the other students in the student lounge. I'll show you where that is. Want to provide some tips for success. And then I wanted to talk briefly about sourcing because that's a key thing that sometimes gets overlooked, and it is critical to doing well, not only in this course, but in the academic world. Um, okay, with that, I'll get going here. Um, just a couple words about me. Um, I've worked my entire career in politics and public policy, really as a policy analyst. I have an MPP from Georgetown. I went right into grad school out of got a poli sci degree at UC San Diego. So, I'm trained as a political scientist, as a public policy analyst, and really my niche has been in public budgeting and looking at fiscal issues, economic, business, climate issues as they relate to the public sector. Some of you folks saw me in the 623, which was the economics for public managers course. There is some overlap in that course, so you will have kind of a leg up on some of the public budgeting issues. This course is distinct. None of the assignments are the same. I would say this is a course that I've actually helped create and develop over time. So it's something I'm proud of. And I think, I actually like it in a lot of ways, and feel like it's much better than it was to begin with. That economics course was not something I really had a hand in, and I think this course is more practical, more useful to your jobs. It's less focused on kind of the academic models and research, and more just the academics and models that you actually use in your career. And that's kind of my fingerprint on that, just because I'm a practitioner and I feel like I have a good handle on what is going to benefit you the most out there in your career, out in the work world of public policy, government, or private sector, in related to government, whatever it may be. Um, there is a brief course overview. I have a bit about my bio. I've been teaching with USF for over 5 years now. I do independent consulting on public policy issues. I do also private sector communications work. I find politics is very seasonal, so I do a lot of video and communications work, and that's why I've innovated a number of things in this course with the screencasts and the virtual office hours. So, um, I a quick look at the syllabus. If people have questions, let me know. I'm just going to pull it up here. Um, there was some things with the due dates for the assignments we're still working on. Um, so you won't get docked if the assignment due date is off. I'll be giving guidelines on that. Essentially, I'm going to have the discussions and the assignments, everything for what that module due on Monday night before the other module begins. So I know some of those discussions you have to turn it in Friday night, which to me doesn't make sense. I might have to check with the department if they're okay with that. But I just like to have everything for each module due at the end of the module. And then on the next module, we move on to the next module. So it's a point system here. The discussions are about 20 points. You will see some of the larger 100-point assignments. The midterm and final are each worth 250 points. So, that's kind of about where you are in terms of where each kind of assignment lies. I would say people tend to do good in the course if they get everything in and they actually put in the effort. I don't see anybody getting less than an A or a B. If that's the case, usually an A. The reading is fairly light compared to that other course, and that we just have the textbook and some supplemental materials as you go along. But I really like to fill that out with the practical and the supplemental screencasts and the assignments where you do your own research on a public agency. To me, that's more useful than digging in too far to the academic literature. So, let me know if you have any questions about the syllabus. I'll leave it there for now. Do your own work. I am going to talk a bit about sourcing. One note I'll make, we'll look just ahead at module 1 quickly. In this intro, I like to just talk about each module, introduce it. If you haven't already, please pick up a copy of the textbook here, Public Budgeting Systems. It's been out for a few years. You can probably get a used version. It's the 9th edition, written by Robert D. Lee Jr. I put a note in the email. It's also in the syllabus. So here's what it looks like. That's the only required text for the course. Try to get a rush on that if you haven't ordered it so you can get it this week. For the module 1, we're requiring the first 3 chapters to hit the ground running here. So module 1 discussion, I'm just trying to get a feel for you. Do you have a certain interest in specific public programs, local, state, federal budgeting? Are you interested in some of the technical aspects, or what are you kind of looking at to get out of the course? So great, we already have some posts in here. Also, please comment on at least 2 of your classmates' posts by day 7. So if you don't, that's the most common deduction. You do the discussion, but you don't comment on your classmates' posts. So that is a required part of the discussion. And then we have here for the public agency of your choice, and I want to put emphasis on public agency. That has to be either a local agency, a state, a federal, or some hybrid. It can't be just a purely private sector agency. This is a public sector budgeting course. So sometimes we've gotten that in the past. So I wanted to make that clear. Just look at these agencies. I'll show you. I'll send out a quick tips on how to research the agency. Then I'll send out a more in-depth podcast on how to do it. But essentially, you can just look up these agencies. So, City of Sacramento. Budget. The best place to find the information is in their budget. And I actually did a tutorial on this. So, I find a lot of my documents on Google. Via Google. So, okay. Please introduce yourself in the student lounge here under discussions. I just want to know kind of a little bit about you, where you work or where you want to work. Just want to kind of everybody to kind of see who's in the course, what they're interested in. If you have a particular agenda in politics that you're working towards. If you're an advocate, great. If you want to learn about this, you see your career going here, and you may not know that, and that's fine. But whatever you want to put here, just to introduce yourself to the class and your colleagues in the student lounge. Um, okay, tips for success in the course. I would just say, I'll continue to go over this, but essentially just get everything in on time. And if you can't get it in on time, let me know and get an extension. The people who get into trouble, they fall behind. The effort's not there, then they haven't done the reading, so the posts just aren't up to par. Maybe they don't kind of wing the midterm and, get a bad grade on that, and then they start falling further behind. So that's not what you want to do. Ideally, stay up with it, get everything in the week that you're supposed to get it in. If there is an issue, you get sick, you have some related event, family crisis, just let me know. I'll give you a week extension or more if you need it. So also, that's all I'll say for now. Sourcing, I'm going to be going over again, but essentially, I'd like everybody to find a sourcing style that works for you, either footnoting or MLA, or, it can be either in text or Chicago style. But just, when you make a statement about an agency or you find something, a fact, I want to know where it came from. Not, if there's other facts that are from that same source and you kind of put it at the bottom of the paragraph. You don't have to source everything, but it's a good habit for a 2 to 3 page brief to actually have a handful of sources that went into that in the discussions. And if it's the textbook, you don't necessarily have to source everything out of there, but please do use sourcing, and don't just put the link. Just find a style that works for you. I think MLA to me is the easiest. The Chicago style too for footnoting, and there's a lot of resources online about sourcing, which I can go into in the future. So just give it your best. I'm not going to dock you because you left something out. I'm really just looking for, the author of who wrote it, what the title of the work was, what the publication it appeared in, and then the date. And that can be month and year. And if there is a link, you're welcome to include that. I don't necessarily care about the internet link. I can find that myself if I have the other information, particularly the publication and the author and the title. So anyway, please include that in a works cited page. You will see deductions if you don't source things properly, particularly if you've been warned about it. So that's it. I'm going to leave it there for now. Thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you later.